Yeah. I think it's working now. Hi
Oh,
everyone, welcome to NordSync's online seminar number 14. This is the last one this season, and I'm very happy that you're with us today. My name is Stefan Frolov. I'll just say a couple of words about why we are gathering here every day and what we're doing. NordSync Online Seminar is our regular event. We are really trying hard to do it once a month, and we invite artists and musicians and cultural workers of all possible fields to talk about what they do, their projects within interdisciplinary field, and simply talk about music and art and everything that's going on in the world. And I'm extremely happy to have with me today Carolina Johansson from Kalmar län, which is south of Sweden. And one of the reasons we are so happy that Carolina could join us today is that NordSync more and more working with the youth, and we are planning on doing even more so next year. And we couldn't find a better expert than Carolina to tell us about the approaches and methods, how you can help young musicians and artists in general to take first steps in this difficult path of becoming a professional artist, becoming a person who lives of that and spends their lives on trying to make the world better through art. Thank you so much, Carolina, that you could join us today.
thank you.
I'm really happy to do so. We are having probably one more guest a little bit later. He is currently on a tour in Europe, and probably there is a little miscalculation and misunderstanding about the time zones, I believe. So Yury is probably joining us a little bit later. But Carolina, could you start by introducing and telling us a little bit about your background, where you come from, where did you study, what did you study, and it's all yours. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you for inviting me. I had the pleasure of working with you recently, and we're going to come to that later. I grew up in Sweden and was trained within theatre, set design, and theatre costumes, actually, originally in London. And then I began studying music when I was rather old. When you look at classical music, studying classical singing at 20, I felt really old. Today, I feel that's right. So I'm a classical trained singer, and I worked with that for a couple of years. I also worked international with training young people with the arts, the performing arts in general. And then I took a master back in Sweden in what we call music dramatic theatre with and for young adults, which was very helpful with what I'm doing today. So that's my background. I've been working as a producer for a young music apartment. Hello, I think.
Hi,
Hello.
Yury.
Hello.
Do you hear us?
Yes, absolutely. I think it works now. Sorry for a delay.
No, it's no problem. Thanks for joining.
That's my pleasure.
We just started by me introducing the guests, so I can take a couple of minutes. I'm sorry, Carolina. This is Yury Revich, our second guest for today. And again, I started with explaining a little bit what NordSync does and why we gather people. And Yury, we are extremely happy that you could join us today. Hopefully, we will also have some collaboration in the future. We will see how much time you have for us. Since we started with Carolina, I think we will proceed with that, and we'll come back soon, and then hopefully you will introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your work with interdisciplinary productions and diplomacy in culture, or culture in diplomacy. It probably is the right way of saying that. Thank you again, Carolina.
Sure.
Yes, I was actually finishing just saying that I'm working. My working experience is that for young audiences, music. It's been going on for 13 years, and I'm part of a national network in Sweden, just focusing on that. So it's really an important task, I think, for everyone who would like to see a next generation, blossom within music. We have an important job. So I'm working as a head producer for Young Audience Music for Länsmusiken in Kalmar län, which involves 12 municipals, and we're supposed to make sure that we can spread professional music in the region. I think you have in Norway something similar, actually quite better, if I'm being honest. The Kulturelle Skolsäcken, I think it's called.
Kulturelle Skolsäcken, yeah.
So, yeah, that's so it's kind of a similar task we're working with. So that's where I'm currently at. So
can you just tell to our wider audience where in Sweden are you exactly, so that they have geographical like understanding and landscape? Sometimes it helps.
Oh, that's great, actually. Thank you for reminding me. Yes, one thing I want to know is this is southeast of Sweden, which is a very long country, which Norway is also.
You bet.
What it does mean, looking at the prospect of development, is that it's quite far to any big city where you have a university or academy or college of music, as well as a proper concert hall in that way. So that's quite important to understand that it's not a natural, how would I say, it's not like people happens to travel through this region by chance. It's a great place to be in the summer. A lot of tourists from Germany find, especially visiting Öland, which is our biggest island. But in general, it's quite far to anything. I think that's something one needs to consider when we're going to talk a bit about my work and why I'm doing it. Yeah.
Thank you. But maybe since we having this little of like introduction section now, maybe Yury, you will like to say a couple of words. Where are you now? And where are you based and where you have been? In what time zone are you now?
Right. I I am in Vienna, Austria. We have 10:11 a.m.
Yeah.
And yes, so my name is Yury Revich. I'm a violinist, composer, interdisciplinary creator. And yeah, I'm touring, I'm performing, I'm composing, I'm creating. I had a few interdisciplinary premieres past couple of months. This week I have 3 projects: my charity concert for UNICEF, which I'm honorary representative, and then also I'm hosting screening of 3 films, and I'm also presenting young talents in a concert here. And then I have my own recital in Paris with Philip Glass Concerto this coming Sunday. Then I'm at Art Basel, of course. Then yeah, there's so many things going on this week.
This weekend. It's great that you found time to join us today. Great. Do you also work a little bit with youth, or are you probably yourself still in the youth category? Or
right, thank you. Of course, yeah, always. So for example, on project on Thursday, we present, I think, 8 talents in the age between 7 and 15, mainly 7 to 12. I think one person is 15. So we support them. And also with the festival nights for 10 years, the concept is that not only we work on inter and multidisciplinary projects, and we also focus on humanitarian causes, but we do it through bringing young artists together with established ones. So like this, we, so to say, tick a lot of boxes in one concert. So we creating a great experience, inspiring for everyone, for myself, for the audience, directing it. Then we also partially supporting a humanitarian cause with it. And at the performance, we bring established and young talents together. So that's kind of a complex structure, but it works.
Yeah.
And has an impact.
I guess it's a lot of similarities with what you try to do, Carolina, as well. Bringing young musicians with more experienced one, making them share a stage, stuff. Great. I just wanted to do that because I know a little bit of both of you. So I just wanted you two guys understand that you are very much from the same field, sort of. And Carolina, you're a singer, right? You have a bachelor in singing. And we are violinists with Yury. So it's very close, I guess. But Carolina, please continue with your work in the South Sweden.
Yes. So, well, background-wise is that we do make sure that schools and municipals are provided with concerts of all genres, professional ones for the schools in all ages from 3 years up to 18. And what I noticed out of this is that we do have a professional orchestra here, a string orchestra, is that we were not aware of, do we have any professional musicians coming from our region? That was the first question I gave myself. I got in contact with a young girl, she's a woman today, who were about to graduate composition at Malmö Music College. And I felt like, why do we not know about who's from our region? And what have we actually done for them? That was my question. I'm sure there has been a great job, but I wasn't aware of it. So that's how it all started. And I got in contact with this young composer and asked her name is Julia Ekström, and I asked her, what would you like to have as a support, or if you could wish anything you'd like to get some support from us? And she said, my dream is to compose a children's opera, she said. And I thought it was fantastic. So when she graduated, I decided she's going to get that as a present from us, a gift, saying, you will compose the first opera, children's opera for us, and we will produce it, which we did. And that was the very start of thinking, how can we support young adults into the professional life? But we need to find them earlier than when they have graduated. So we have a program started 3 years ago called Young Music Ambassadors. And if you are raised or if you live in our region and are between 18 and 23, you can apply. And you can read more about it on our website.
I can probably open it right now, right? It's this.
Can you do that? That would be great.
I can do that. Wait just a second. Maybe side by side, I will be sharing that, and that will be this.
Let's see.
Do you see anything?
Yeah, or the other link.
The other link, this one.
Yes, great, thank you. So this is our Young Music Ambassadorship, and you can apply for that. There are some things that you need to understand is that we do have expectations, which they have said they feel safe about that we are clear on what the expectations are. And what comes with it is that they also need to be good ambassadors as human beings. I mean, it's not just being excellent to master your instrument, but you also need to be a good role model, inspire young other people. But we also like to support them in different projects. They have to be able to develop, but with the support from us, working with professional musicians, etc. And it does change a bit depending on who's the ambassador for this year. We have so far had 4 ambassadors per year. It depends a bit about our capacity, what we can do, because we need to be able to offer all of them the same support. It's both within jazz and classical music. These are the genres that I'm supporting. We do have another program for pop, rock artists as well, but I'm not part of that.
Is it like a one ambassador per year you choose, or it's few?
In general, you apply for 1 year between September and July, but then you can have a second year. So you need to ask for that, and most of them have had the second year. But some of them, they move on for a higher education or something like that. Yeah. But we have also talked about having an alumni group, those who have been ambassadors or young scholarships from us. We're talking about creating a group, so we always, there will always be a connection between us. I love to hear what's happening with them, after they finish their ambassadorships, and also they still feel that they can always contact us. We would always support them if they have been an ambassador for us, And that's what I heard from them. They really feel it's good to have somebody next to them when they do a bigger project, like the Mahler projects. And can I talk a bit about that?
Yeah,
is that
of course.
And then we can change perhaps the website there. Yes. One of our ambassadors, Vidar, he is a percussionist, and he was determined on having a project with symphony orchestra, which made me a bit, nervous because we do not have a symphony orchestra in our region. And how could we support him in this? So he came up with this idea of finding a great arrangement by Ian Farrington for 15 musicians. And he said, I'd love to do this Symphony #1. And I said, okay, when? And he said, end of May. And this was like beginning of March. So it wasn't that much to play on. So I was quite like, all right. So these are the conditions where, what we can do. And he was he has such a beautiful way of asking me, like saying, what can you help me with? I really enjoy the way he that kind of question of saying, you need to help me. It's like, what can you do for me? And I said, I will get the musicians that you can't get on yourself. This is something we will evaluate how good that was, but we did make sure we had a conductor. Stefan, you were first violinist in this project, which I'm very grateful for. You did a great job there.
It was fantastic to be a part of it.
So that was like, and then there were teachers that he had been working with in the Municipal School of Culture, music teachers there. And of course, this arrangement, one needs to understand, if you're going to put all, French horn into one, that one needs to be a very good horn player, that's something you need to consider. But he did all the work. We had several meetings where he need to understand, you need to get the rehearsal rooms, you need to make sure we have somewhere we can play, a place where we will have the concert. He actually made the application to the bank who funded this. We had a bank who actually paid some part of it. So he had to do all the parts that being kind of a producer meant. Of course, he always talked to me and, can I send this? Can I say this? And, when he felt insecure, he always called me, and I think that's what they need. They need to have somebody they can call. But he did all the work, and it was his project.
Yeah.
And I'm so proud of him. And
how old is Vidar? Is he a student in a university or a school still?
This is the thing with young ambassadorships. These are young people who have graduated what we call studenten in Sweden. It's high school.
Yeah.
Yeah. And once you finish that, you cannot be part of the Municipal School of Culture anymore. That means you have lost your environment with teachers and, things like that. And you're probably quite young. So, your funding or financial situation is dependent on what kind of parents perhaps you have. And I felt there is something, I don't want that to be something that depends on whether they can go on with music. So part of being in this program is that you are probably 19 years old. You have a leap year, a lapse before you apply for higher education. And they do get some funding from us so they can go traveling, doing their auditions, take music lessons with their teachers. So we are funding them with that, apart from the projects we are helping them with. So he's 19 years old. That's the answer. He's 19 years old.
Yeah, that's fascinating. And then you're kind of your role to him is like a mentor, sort of. You're mentoring him on his path, helping him to find out what is important to take or something.
Yeah, I do recommend him, but then he's the one making the decisions,
Yeah, of course. Well, that's what mentoring is. Yeah, you don't take decisions for him. You just he's there to consult. Exactly. Yeah. Well, it's fascinating. Is it is it your know-how, or it's a thing that's replicated many places in Sweden? Because I've never heard of a program like that before, Music Ambassadors.
Actually, no, it's quite new, and I heard that it has been something talked about. The government actually gave young music talks, unga tankar om musik. It's part of our Musikaliska Akademin, Unga Musikaliska Akademin. And they have been given the chance from our government to actually see how the development, how the steps of our music developments in Sweden actually are. And when I had a meeting with them, they said they hadn't realized this gap between, graduating and before you start studying for higher, actually there's not very much for them to do. And So they are actually looking at this. So it's quite new, but I know many other regions are looking at somehow supporting that of some kind. Yeah.
Yeah, and it feels like, I don't know if it's the same in Sweden, but in Norway at least, there is definitely a tendency coming from the above, from the politicians, to kind of put these expectations on cultural institutions such as music schools, music universities, that these institutions have to find financing somewhere else, not entirely in the state, but that they have to be somehow self-sufficient, self-supporting. And there is constantly a talk about intjäning when it comes to kulturskoler. Intjäning means like earnings in the cultural schools, which sounds sort of bizarre a little bit, being a classical musician. But anyways, I think in this kind of political frame, this initiative of yours with ambassadors in music, where you're pushing, or not pushing, supporting young musicians to take a more active, proactive steps in escaping the landscape, escaping the musical and cultural environment around them, it seemed to be very like a right place, right time. And we in NordSync, we would really love to learn more about that. Maybe some of your ambassadors could be send ambassadors abroad to Norway to share their experience, and maybe teach their same age people to do similar things. We really should discuss that closely next time, because that would be a really great thing for our ungdomar, our young people, to learn from you. It's really fascinating experience, and it worked so well. Now I will speak on behalf of the participants of that Mahler project. It was a great experience just to sit there and feel the energy of both young musicians but also teachers. I think that's a fantastic initiative, that the teachers finally get the chance to perform. And everyone I spoke to were so positive. It's a great. I mean, Mahler first is a dream for many performers, and it's such a great choice. I was first a little bit shocked. Why Mahler first? Why not? Why is not something more, suitable for chamber besetting, chamber music group? But that was just a
I
fantastic.
tried. Believe me, I did try to say try something a bit, chamber music, some kind of. I said, no, I would like to do, symphony orchestra music, and that's his vision, and now he's been accepted, where he wants to study. So I think for him, oh gosh, it's up in the north, and I'm very embarrassed of saying, but I think it's Ingesund, because there's a certain teacher there who wants to teach, study for. But Ingesund, so he's definitely going further with this. And what I think, one last thing I like to say about your finances, we shouldn't be afraid of actually talking about finances when it comes to young musicians, because I'm going to be absolutely honest here. There's no way, when all the, politicians, because our board is, it's by, it's set by who's running the place here. So there are politicians in our board, and all the parties have welcomed this, program. So, all of them are very, very positive. So it has been something that has been, all of them are supporting it very well, with also me being able to put some budget into it. But also companies, our biggest companies in our region, Södra Skogsägarna, and these really, really big ones, there's a way of opening doors with saying we have some young ambassadors, because it could be their kid,
Yeah.
So they all would they like to come? Because we have worked with people working in the forest, and they don't, understand me correctly, but they said perhaps as good as the other ones are, but maybe that's not the first step to take. But young ambassadors who could be their kid, who plays, they all sit there and they love it, and they are ready to pay for that. So I'm going to be very honest with you. It's a good way to say we need finances and support. And the bank, as I told you, they give it like this. I said to him, you need to apply for this, because it needs to be you. And they gave it like that to him, so I'm going to be honest with you. let's not make a business out of that, but it's a way to find fundings for creating something in Norway. That's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, that's a fantastic concept. We were looking for something similar, like a concept, and we were thinking about maybe some kind of youth council or something with the same purpose to engage young generation into planning something for themselves,
Yeah,
because and I think it's really our time's new kind of feature, super feature that you know times are, I mean, there are difficulties right now politically and economically, but generally the time we're living in is much safer. Nobody is in our countries basically is gonna suffer from hunger and stuff like that. So it's first time they really have actually a chance to be already involved into their future that early, and I think it's a great, philosophically it's a great concept of going going further. I wanted to ask you, Yuri, since you were with us, if you have any similar programs in Vienna, in Austria, where you directly engaged young professionals, and you have two music universities in Vienna, right? Is there any kind of program where these universities engage younger people into this sort of cultural activity?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they are. I'm not aware of it, but it's not exactly the field. I mean, I give master classes a couple of times a year when I have time. And with my festival, we specifically support like the youngsters, like the kids I mentioned. So we give them platform to perform. We are not partnering with any institution for that. Basically, we just audition and have people who recommend us, send us videos, etc., etc. But I'm pretty sure there are programs for kids. I mean, the system of music schools in Austria is very developed. So they get a lot of funding. Actually, as far as I know, that teaching position in school, in music school, is paid sometimes better than maybe in another type of institution, like if you take enough students. So I think it's quite well developed here.
Great to hear. I just was thinking also, if you, with your very active enterprise, which hopefully you'll tell us about in just a while, that you should have some kind of affiliation with some institution of with states participation. Is it so, or you're entirely free with all
We
these
try to
institutions?
be more independent. I mean, we had funding from, well, actually, might sound funny, but the only time we collaborated, I think, with the city, it was I think 2 or 3 concerts we did for environment, and our partner was the part of city responsible for recycling.
Uh-huh.
And basically in Austria, that's the, how to say, we say it magistrat, but it's an administrative unit responsible for trash collection, is one of the best in Europe, if not the best, what we have here. So they get a lot of money. Also, they're always friendly. I mean, Vienna is extremely clean, and compared to many other cities in this country, say the capital specifically. So we actually partnered with them, and they gave us quite a lot of money to do the concerts and also promote their work, which actually did not need promotion because everybody loves them here. And like, for example, when Ed Sheeran comes to Vienna or like other stars like that, they go to their hub of the recycling, and they like sign the guitars and sign things, and it's like a really big deal here. So they're really cool and modern. So we partnered with them a couple of times. However, we try to be. I'm a very independent person, so I really try to develop my creative and artistic ideas. And here, especially if you're in a, like, let's say in a big city, and there's a lot of paperwork and a lot of administration to do, we have to tick so many boxes.
Yeah, I understand.
So, by the end, I think my team finishes filling the documents. And of course, I'm part of it because I'm creating the concepts, right? The creativity is absolutely gone. I mean, it's just killed. But on the page 2403 of the application form, the creativity is gone. So that's maybe one of the reasons. And actually, I was talking about this in the European Parliament also in October, because there's so much money and they have so much good intentions in Europe to support art and culture and innovation and culture, but just the procedure of application is so hard. So for example, okay, let's imagine we could hire or like an external company on a percentage basis to fill in applications here in the capital city, or work with somebody else. But if you have a young talent from, let's say, a little town in Spain in the south who have incredible idea for Europe, they'll be never able to apply all. I mean, just that. I mean, it's insane, I tell you. So that's a little bit of an issue I see, and I share it openly, that it needs to be somehow much more accessible in a way. Of course, applications must be very clear. Of course, everything, like a person, an artist, when they submit something, they need to know what they want, what it is. But for sure, there needs to be more support. We have, of course, Cultural Europe culture desks in each country, I think, but also they have a lot of work, and they are not able to give you feedback more than 1 hour, maybe 2 times, So, yeah, I mean, yeah. I completely went somewhere else answering your
but
question about.
we would get there
but
anyways.
yeah,
Because we're all working with production and applying for funding and stuff
right.
like that.
Yeah.
But I have noticed that the European Union has a much more bureaucratized the application system. I was trying a couple of times to apply for some EU midler, EU funding through this Interreg programs and stuff. Oh my God, it's nothing compared to Norwegian applications are nothing compared to that.
Well, that's good for you, and I
it's
really
good for
mean.
us, yes. Though I mean, it's actually we are working towards integration, sort of, but more like maybe we can help each other with the best things we can, and a little bit of less bureaucracy would be definitely good for everyone. Yes, yeah. It's a great initiative with ambassadors, Carolina. Just to uppsummera, it's a fantastic experience. We really want to learn more about how to do that initiative, and we would really love perhaps you and perhaps some of your ambassadors to come visit us in Mo i Rana. That's a far north region, which is though a very interesting, very beautiful region. It's a Helgeland. It's a lot of very very beautiful nature, mountains, fjords, and so on. So we will really be very happy to do something like that. That would be fantastic.
Thank you for the invitation. I mean, I will absolutely. They always open for traveling.
Yeah.
Apart from that, I'm driving sometimes, and they do fascinating. But no, but no. Anything we can do to support, because what they said themselves, as I mentioned before this program started, when I asked them, why do you want to become an ambassador, and one Eric, one of our ambassadors who actually funded our young big band, which we have also in the region. Thanks to these guys and girls. He said, I like to show other young people how much fun you get to do thanks to music. And I think that's wonderful. They all want to spread how much fun, and they are so keen, no matter if they are within the classical department or the jazz department. I said, it's really important you support both parts, So if somebody does this, all of you try to support that. And I think that's great. They always want to make sure everybody is invited for evenings when you meet up for a barbecue or hanging out or things like that. So I think that's something really important to look at, the social part, that they feel safe, to express themselves, to experimental. They really support each other to make experimental projects. They've done this weekend with art and music. So they right now they're actually on their path of creating their own projects, which I really wish for them, in the future to become their own producers in that way, So thank you so much. I'll speak to them and see what we can do.
Yes, and say thanks to Vidar. It was a great idea, a great project. We and also I was very happy about the Roman and his input into that project. The conductor was also very. It's very great to work with people who have a bright ambition because it's very hard to do Mahler first with just what were we 16 people. It's really great. I think that's the art in essence, that you are having a vision and ambition, and the administrative things come second. I really appreciate both your work and their work, that you really made it this way, because that makes at least participating in that like a lifetime experience. It's really, really great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I want to say to Yury, I totally agree. These applications can kill you. I mean, before the project even has started. I think that was one of the things with the Mahler. Let's do it and let's learn by it. I think that's what young people need to be able to do. So it should be easy to fund your projects. Thank you.
Yeah, right.
What was the wildest thing you had to play, Yury, as a musician? Was there any Mahler symphonies in quartet besetting for you?
I mean, wildest in which sense? I mean,
you can choose what says. Maybe there are similar ideas.
Well, you know, I work with performance art as well. So I mean, one of the last performances I created is where I was all in white on stage coming out of an X. So like an art is born. The concept is that the art, it's basically an interdisciplinary project of mine. You know, so when you create an artwork, whatever it is a picture or it's a music piece or anything, the millisecond, the moment someone else sees it, the control of perception is not in the is not by the hand of artist anymore. So we don't know how people perceive our work. I mean, everybody will have a different opinion. People love it for different reasons, or people will not understand it for different reasons, or relate with it for different reasons. So that was my inspiration, and that was, I think, maybe more crazy one I did, because I come out of the structure. There's of course dancers, the soundscapes, and everything, and then audience has given paints, and just they didn't know what to expect, and they given painted a painting on my outfit, my full white outfit, on coming on stage and creating the artwork on me.
Some of your website materials if you want.
Actually, that part is not on the website yet. It's
but there was a lot
maybe it is actually. I don't know if our. I mean, let's check it. If my web
Do you
guy.
want to share it, or should I share it?
I'm on the phone, so if you can do that, it would be great.
Yeah.
Let me see if it's on there.
I can do it side by side, I guess, or no, we do it as.
Oh no, it's not there yet. Not that one, but there is another crazy one. You can.
Yeah, there was quite a lot. I just wanted to maybe so that people are getting a feeling of what we're talking about. Oh, that was wrong. That was so wrong. But there it is, right? Do you see now the browser, right?
Yes.
Yes, so it should be fine. Yury, there's your website. And maybe it's somewhere in projects.
Okay, actually, I'm very curious how you find it, because that's like a user interface simplicity.
I'm gonna try my best, but it's a little bit like wrong places here. So we go to About, and we go probably to Creator.
Yes.
That was quite easy.
Yeah. I mean, well, you can play that video, actually. It's 2 minutes if you like.
Yeah, it won't be sound, I think, unfortunately, because it's a little bit tricky to fix. Or maybe it will be, actually. I had a technician helping me with this installing a couple of days ago, but I'm not sure if it's... So maybe we don't hear, but maybe the stream does, because it's a little bit complicated how it works.
So basically, yeah, you know, connecting all the different art forms together and bringing exactly established artists like that, for example, with youngsters. So William, that was insane. That was so cool. These are great actors, directors. We hosted exhibition as well, video art, and contemporary performance, classical. There's a new project I'm working on now, is that we're connecting my violin through a very sensitive mic with a membrane.
Wow. So
and painting with the sound, basically. So it depends on the intensity and the structure I play. That's there. That's the piece I composed for a Japanese choir, Goeika choir, we premiered in Vienna. Here we are, actually, this is not just, it's not AI, that's the third person on stage doing visuals live.
Mm-hmm.
And then exactly that was for Art Basel, my first collaboration with them. It was Artur Kadar, who closed Olympic Games ceremony. That's another digital art.
Oh, you're playing keyboards as well.
Yes, it's my original composition. That was a really cool commission. Also with contemporary dance. Yeah, and that I love. That's one of my favorites. That was commissioned by Tadeusz Ropak, Ropacz Gallery. by himself, and we presented it during Art Basel last year in Paris. It's a human sculpture.
Yeah. What a beautiful space, and how you build it in this space.
Yeah.
I think I've seen the whole recording of that production where you play quite a lot of Isaïe in the beginning.
No, that was exactly. So there are three parts. It's a triptych. The first part is improvisation, and I do finish it with Isaïe. Exactly, just with the last page, I think. Though I don't know. I was improvising the first part,
Yeah,
but that was
very
very
organic,
that
very
part.
nice.
That part was not improvised at all. Of course, that
No.
that was really rehearsed properly. Each of us has an in-ear with instructions of movement and with the backing track, because it's electronic and acoustic. And yeah, there will be two new projects on this website, which I'm actually with the painting, and another one from London with the ballerina from last week. And yeah.
Well, I leave the link to that website for every one of our listeners who wanna check it, and it's also on our website. So please visit and check what Yury is doing. It's really fascinating, really great, and yeah, we in NordSync, we really hope for future collaboration, that you could perhaps come to Nordic countries, because I believe you haven't been so much around here.
Not so much.
Yeah, and we would really be happy if you could teach us some of this art of yours when you create interdisciplinary productions, and yeah, combine. I think it's a fantastic concept, fantastic idea, and you are magnificent when you are doing it. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's great.
Thank
Could
you.
you tell us a little bit, because we now saw a little bit where you are now, could you tell us a little bit where you come from? I was eager enough to check a little bit on Wikipedia, the page for Yury Revich, which states clearly that you're Russian-Austrian
Yes.
violinist. So maybe
Let me check. I have no idea what's there. Okay, no, trust you. Okay, yeah, it's true. So I was born in Moscow, and then I came to study in Vienna. Then I stayed here, and gladly became an Austrian citizen. And I used to live. I lived in London for 2 years as well. Now my base is between Vienna and Paris. And yes, I'm coming from the 4 generations of violinists, from a very classical background. And in my mid-20s, I started to explore more into discovering the connection between other art forms with other art forms. I mean, to create something what's really inspiring me. I mean, while continuing to perform core classical repertoire, of course, so which I'm still doing, but more and more I'm interested as well in interdisciplinary approach in music and arts. And yeah, that's here I am.
And you had quite a bunch of very famous teachers throughout your career. I've heard you started with Vernikov, right? Which is like one of the gods of. How was your experience studying in one of the best schools in the world, meaning Vienna and perhaps London? Was it the Royal College in London?
No, I did not study in London. I just was there because
you
why
were just
not?
living there. But Vienna, nevertheless. I think
yes, Vienna. No, so I did school in Moscow. I studied first. Well, my grandfather gave me a violin in my hands, and then my father was my very first teacher, and he still is. And but right away, I started also very young. I think was 6 or 7, with the Galina Turchaninova, who was first teacher of Maxim Vengerov. So I always had my dad and father as my teacher, but in parallel, I was very lucky to study, like actually officially study with teachers like Turchaninova. Then I was with Viktor Pikaisin, who is a legend of violin school as well. And also I studied then with Pavel Vernikov in Vienna. And of course, it was really, I mean, it's a great experience. I was very lucky with all these teachers, of course, and everybody is so different, and so much talent, so much knowledge, so much inspiration, experience, so much also listening to the student. That was always what I appreciated about teachers I worked with, that they not only tell you what to do, but they hear you, they listen to you. So that's something great.
Fantastic. It's the best of Russian violin school there is, sort of what you've gone through. But isn't it very tough as well? That's what they are thinking about in the West here. Is it?
Oh, that's so tough, but like, you know, I'm tough too, and I kind of and very lazy as well. So I nothing worked. There's still, if I didn't want to practice too much, I did not. And I mean, it still didn't bother me. I played my first Paganini concerto was age of 11. You know, I did all the 24 caprices. I did all of that. So and my father, who was kind of in charge of making me practice at home, he's the kindest person ever. So he never pushed me too hard. So I think in my case, the environment of school was quite challenging because of the parents and all the kids. It's like, you know, the Russian tiger moms and things like that. So that was an environment in school which was really pressuring, to be honest, and it was really toxic sometimes between the kids. But however, in my family, and with my teachers, I was very lucky, so I didn't feel that.
Great, very interesting to learn more about it. And anyways, I just heard from Carolina that perhaps you could tell us a little bit more about the Human Project.
Oh,
Because I find it also very interesting. Just a couple of words.
yes. So that, well, just a couple of words. I mean, the project is basically it started a couple of years ago. I was in this gallery in Paris, Tadeusz Ropacz Gallery, and whom I've heard about, but you know, I knew it's one of the best galleries in the world. And I was there and I thought, okay, that's great space. And it was actually his second gallery in Paris, and it was already great space. It's not that one you saw in the video. And then sometimes later, I'm in Vienna, I'm talking to somebody, and then they say, oh, you know, I'm going to the opening at Tadeusz. I'm like, oh, I saw this gallery. I really would love to do something with them. Then this person told me, oh, you know, I'll introduce you to him. So then I meet him and he says, you know, your work is great. If you have an idea, let me know. And then I thought, okay, I don't have an idea right now, and I don't want to jump into, you know, like sometimes people do just propose whatever to do whatever, right? So I didn't want to do that. So I took like a half a year at least. And then I was on a plane and the idea was born. Okay, human sculpture and like a collage. You know, can you imagine a painter who is putting the art together for a collage, for a combined on the wall, like Picasso, you know, like many artists did, like Rauschenberg, etc. So I thought, what can happen if that's with humans and with musicians? And there is some invisible power which just somehow puts them together in a final sculpture. So I presented him this work, and then he also said, you know, okay, I commission you. So we premiered it, and it was during this incredible Chinese artist exhibition in his gallery and Yang Peimin. And if you see on the video, there is this triptych of the huge, incredible art. And then I thought, okay, so if it's going to be part of that, I want to make human part of a triptych. And I was inspired also by um, Chinese kind of philosophy when, you know, when the Taoism and Buddhism kind of melt with each other a long time ago, they had this concept of reincarnation. So basically, the first part was triptych I composed was kind of, it was the kind of, you know, a way of improvisation and inspiration was search. Second part was actually a remix of John Cage 433, but we are walking towards the Chinese honk and about to hit it, and that's basically death. So basically everybody is walking towards death. I know it's very dark. But then the third part starts, which is rebirth, and that's the human, that's the human sculpture. So that was it's yeah, that's in a very nutshell. I mean, the concept is of course much even deeper than that, but yes, that's how the idea came. It's a long process of research, of working. I mean, honestly, it's so much easier to be touring soloist and play Mozart concerto or Tchaikovsky 200 times a year than to come up with like, I say because
Because you
I mean,
can
I
play
do
Tchaikovsky
that.
violin concerto.
No, no,
So
no,
it's
because
easier.
like I know how
No,
it
but
works, and in the way you can
yeah.
make so much more money with that. But like the kind of the feeling when you create your own artwork and then you present it and it's something new and it's something incredible, and the process. I mean, we're preparing so much for it. The process just of creating it so inspiring and like makes me really this process what makes me really feel okay, that's art, the music, that's what I want to do, that's why I'm doing that.
Fascinating. Um, Carolina, you mentioned a little bit. I'm trying to do a little bit the connecting thing here. That you have a professional orchestra in Kalmar. Is it so?
Yes, we do. We have a string orchestra, Camerata Nordica, which is, I mean, many of the musicians, because we have a few who are permanent, permanent musicians, but most of them are actually freelancers that are coming in for certain projects. Many of them are from Paris. So I'm sure you know some of them. But I really enjoyed it. And I think there's something important here about listening to the whole conversation we do have here is that we're part of us. What I'm looking at in Sweden is that we do have an international touch from where we are, which is important. But also, how does that apply, connect to young people in our region? In a way, I think that's important to see how that can be connected in a way. I think it's great to meet. Music is the greatest way actually to meet and connect other people from other cultures with other languages. I mean, that's the fantastic thing. We do meet in music, but I'm always looking at how can I involve young people from our region in this. And that's why, Yury, I must say, I find it very interesting in what you're doing. It's so creative, and I must say, I was a bit terrified when I thought they were painting you while you were playing your Stradivari, but I must say that kind of process you are talking about is so interesting. And
it was not a Strad, don't worry.
Okay.
Because the violin was painted on as well, but it was a violin specially bought. And I mean, I want to say something about this after you. Sorry to interrupt, but yeah.
Yeah, because that was the only thing audio. But I love to see. Do you do these kind of projects? Who do you involve? Like musicians? Who would you pick for this? Because it's a bit different from ordinary orchestral.
Anything
project.
you've seen before, most likely.
Yes, I mean it's really two things. So let's say before human, because that was like the project we really had to work a lot, and I was thinking it's so hard to find people who are literally everyone. So many artists are hungry for these things. They want to come out of the box, even like. I mean, of course, you need to pick the people who are also comfortable in their body for this specific project and can move, maybe, so they're kind of open, of course. And they might be open in their mind, but they still can be very shy. So it's also a process to make this very inclusive and cool. I mean, but it's really cool. So it's everybody likes and it's inspiring. So an example is I did the performance in London. It was 9 June, 10 days ago exactly. And I had 6 musicians from Hong Kong, classical musicians, placed in one of the rooms of gallery and asked them, have you ever even performed in an art gallery? And say, no, it's so exciting. They actually they didn't need to do anything. They were there like 5 sculptures, and then the poet comes and wakes each of them up and they play something solo. So actually it's really not too much, but for them it was, oh my God, this is so exciting. We are part of something, we're acting a little bit, and it's like it's a whole thing. So for them that was extraordinary in a way. So that was really cool. And the process, people want to take part now. So we get messages I get messages on Instagram. Our festival page gets messages, and hopefully we can do bigger things. Maybe we involve 100 musicians at some point into that with physical presence. And I did 100 musicians already digitally during pandemic together, but let's see, maybe we'll do it in physical. And speaking of the violin, which was painted, actually that was really funny because there are people writing, oh, but it's a good violin. What is it like? Come on, what's going on? Like, what the hell is going on? And then I didn't write anything because I was just curious how people perceive it, because that's a part of the work. Like people, I'm curious how people perceive the art. And then I wrote, that actually violin is 120 euros, including the case, including the bow, including the rosin. So it is, so it's, of course it was not good violin, but it didn't sound that bad. And also it's, you know, if you can play okay, then you can play okay on any violin, right? So that's also brought me to think about another question. So, you know, there's a violin for 12 million euro, then there's a violin for 120, including case, bow, and strings and everything. And the difference, of course, is huge, but it's not huge of 11,900,900 euro, right? So it's not as that big as that, I guess, in the sound at least. So
I didn't mean to criticize you. I actually meant it as a compliment that I think you're very brave, and I really think you could be. I think, as you said, many classical musicians should try to stretch, you know, where the comfort zone is, try to dare to do new things. And I think the instrument will always come in somewhere in that conversation. And I think your way of finding a solution is really interesting too, you know. So it's I just get so inspired. I almost want to invite you to Sweden, but I'm sure you're pretty busy. But I think the way you work your methods would be so interesting to see if that could be transfer to what we talked about, young musicians, you know, their step, because I think if they learn that in quite young age, they will bring that to higher education, you know. And we do speak to the Royal College of Music in Sweden to see how can the development also come within their education of this kind. I think they do speak about, there are some, you know, it's great in Sweden. The education is for free. It's fantastic. But still, as a musician, what do you get to do during these years? You know, what kind of experience do you get to do? And I do get the feeling when I speak to young musicians that some of these things, and how do you make people get involved? You know, how can you get people to say yes to projects? That is a great learning curve there, you know, somewhere. And you sounds like you have great experience with that. That's what I meant.
well, thanks a lot. Yeah, I mean, you know, you said something very important. It's about education from a bit earlier, because I had to already years ago. We have a project called EMZ, International Music Centrum, here in Vienna, which is also connected, actually quite strong Scandinavian presence. It's mainly with broadcasters, but they also have education aspect, and they have a digital thing. And I gave few talks and keynotes when I was a bit younger in Vienna University and Zurich University of Music, to few directors of music universities. So I was like a young guy talking to obviously old men, basically. So I mean, that's also another thing to touch. I mean, that was like all very specifically kind of yeah. I mean, yeah. Old white man in charge of position. They of course hated that the young guy is telling them something, and I was telling, you know, I mean, you need to introduce in your education something about digital, about the modern world, about the possibility to connect with different artists, about going outside of the classroom, about going outside of practice room, and, you know, visit museums. I mean, also know how to use social media, basically digital, like all these things, what kind of can help a young artist to find their way and find their way of establishment. Of course, they hated to hear that. I mean, I just saw their faces and they knew I'm right. But I did it a few times, of course, and then now yeah. But the one in Zurich actually was really cool. He's a cool guy, but he's in pension already. I don't know if they do anything. And then I did it also for students, and I just saw their faces, and it was something what was for me so natural. I was sharing with them. For them was like, oh my God, you know, it's cool. Like, what can I do? Maybe I can work with a dancer. And I was like, yeah, I mean, that's like the easy, like ballet dances with music. I mean, it's just that's maybe the easiest and most simple thing also to explore and get inspired by the visual representation of your sound, you know. So yeah, of course, and it's very correct. I think the more awareness about this is important, and it's absolutely also super normal that there might be very traditional young artists who just want to stick in their comfort zone and just to play one thing all over again, which is also absolutely fine. I just think that there should be space for everyone, and it should be an opportunity for artists to explore other genres also without being judged from their own own colleagues. I mean, of course, everyone will judge everything. I mean, it's art and it's live, but you know what I mean, in a way that the system will not judge you for doing that, because when I was little in Moscow in our school, listening to pop music was considered just shameful. And I also was like till the age of 15, I was like, in the taxi, there was something on the radio. I was like, oh, who is that? Like, can you switch the station? And then I understood, like, what kind of elitist thinking is that? And what kind of narrow-mindedness is that? So, and it was really funny because in the secret, I started to listen to some pop music and I asked, I think, some of my parents to buy me this singer's CD back then, and or cassette even, I don't remember. So anyway, yeah. But yeah, of course, I mean, I'd love to visit Sweden also. If I mean, in a bit an advanced planning.
We are working on the case.
Yeah.
We are working on the case.
Yeah,
I'm
that
really
was
so
pleasure.
happy to just listen to that discussion because that's exactly what we want to do in NordSync. We want to bring people of similar views closer together. It's surprising how little people are the yes people who are saying yes to go outside the box, because it requires a certain courage, and it's always leaving the comfortable area, going to the area of unknown, and that's always an extra work. Not every person, especially in the classical music field, is kind of so eager to entertain that thing. So I'm very happy. I just really have a great time here listening to you guys, exploring all the possible things. I just wanted to add my 5 pence into that beautiful conversation. That's exactly one of the philosophical kind of reasons and backgrounds for what we started with NordSync, that we use the interdisciplinarity, which you work so much in, Yury, as one of the inspirations to kind of push the musical and cultural life in Norden towards the direction. It's not like cultural life in Norden is particularly like backwards or needs some push, but we just believe that generally classical art, and now we're talking a little bit about Hellenism, which you just mentioned earlier, that it's kind of, in our opinion, works in a little bit wrong direction. Wrong not philosophically, but just simply because there is a dead end in the end. As one of the great pianists of nowadays once said that the problem with modern competitions for classical musicians is sort of that it became a competition in who plays quickest with a little pinky. Instead
No,
of
it's
being,
not about that, sorry to interrupt. It's about who's student, and like, I mean, to be honest.
yeah, I mean, we're being a little bit idealistic also, but generally the concept is that the classical music became so kind of orientated on perfectionism and some sort of, that there was very little space for entertaining, for the art itself, I think. Like a couple of months ago, I had a friend here telling about his album where he recorded Greek violin sonatas in a kind of inspired by the Norwegian folk music, which is super logical and correct thing to do, because Grieg obviously is very inspired by the Norwegian folk music, and there is a great folk tradition for playing violin in Norway. Surprise, surprise. We even have our own instrument, Hardenfelle, and it sounds fantastic creatively, very very interesting, and there was so little kind of echo on that fantastic album he made. It sounds like nothing else on Spotify. You can check it. It was a couple of Sander Tingstad is his name. And when I listened to that, being a violinist, I was really, really happy, just because it's something new. It's fantastic quality as well, but it's just something that nobody does. There are thousands of versions of Greek Violin Sonata number 2, and everyone plays pretty much the same. And that's the goal. That's why they play the same. They want to sound like somebody else already did. And it's kind of hard to get out of that box. And I think, and we think in NordSync, that maybe this interdisciplinary is one of the things which forces you to think outside the box. Yeah. So we sort of put it, instead of being afraid of that and approaching it from like a perspective of like, yeah, we should do that in order to get the application godkänt, confirmed. We instead put it on our like banner, and we do it as a whole goal for our art. We want to do something new, and therefore we start as far as possible mixing arts with everything else, and mixing classical arts and folk arts and everything else. So it's just very lovely to hear you guys talking exactly about this very purpose of our work. And I really hope that we can really reconnect and get even more people into our movement of trying.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Stefan. And I would like to say, when it comes to classical music, we do need, I mean, there's something we need to work, and I really think, you talk about mastering technical skills, but when it comes to classical music, we also have the challenge of that we do often play dated music in that way. It was written, several years, 100 years ago. Wonderful, beautiful music, but we do live today, and how do we make it relevant for people who are listening today? I think that's a very important question, both for those who play the music, but also for our audience. And that's where I think learning where is your comfort zone is the most important thing to push yourself, because you will learn about yourself as a human being and what you recognize, and becoming a great musician, I believe, is not just mastering the technical skills. There's so many more things there that makes you interesting, and you will definitely hear that in the music. So I think you're doing a great job, Stefan, with connecting people in this way. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We are really trying our best, and hopefully we will. It's now a period when we are reporting for the past season, and we are applying for funding for the next year, and we want to be more specific about what we do, because we now gathered quite a lot of connections. So now we're going to be focusing on certain fields, and work with youth is one of them. That's why it was extremely important for us to see your perspective and perhaps learn of your experiences, and we want to invest some time and resources into continuing that work, Caroline, and I hope that maybe you can be a part of that work next year. We can talk closer about it. And because youth is everything, obviously. If you want to build something and build a different way, you have to start from the base, from the ground. And then, of course, Yury, we are extremely interested because you're doing what we want to do, just in a super talented, super bright way. We want to learn more of that, and we talked about it before, and we will focus on that, bringing some of your expertise here to Norden. I think it can really benefit all of us and our growing environments and interest to interdisciplinary art. We have a lot of galleries to play in. We have a lot of new galleries in Oslo and in Norway generally. We have a lot of institutions. That's what Sweden is, I believe, is a little bit more advanced than Norway. That you have so many institutions which are not cultural institutions, but nevertheless they are posing themselves very interested in arts. Like a greatest example here, and I know about because my wife is a student in Handelshögskolan, the Stockholm School of Economics. And it's fascinating seeing a head of economical institution, the head of school doing the economy students, being or advocating for arts more and stronger than the Minister of Arts. I find that actually fascinating and positive. And we want more of that. The understanding that arts are not there to compete, but to improve and to benefit to the economy. It's great. I think it's future, and we want to learn more about that in Norway. And I believe I know a couple of companies to approach with the same notion. So we'll see how that works. I really kind of want to thank you all. I mean, it's Tuesday and everybody, I believe, has a lot to do. I'm very grateful that you could join us today.
The pleasure. Thank you for inviting.
And we keep in touch, I hope. I know.
With pleasure.
We will do some planning for next year, and I hopefully see you all. And now I'm talking to my audience, our audience, that I hope to see you all next year with a new season of NordSync Online Seminars. Maybe we should call them podcasts. Maybe that's more appealing to the younger generation. We will see. Thank you so much again.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you, Carolina. Take care. Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good luck with all your concerts.
Bye. You too.
See you next.
Ciao, Stefan.
Bye-bye.